Hey guys, and welcome to another video. Today's video, we're gonna be speaking, or you're gonna be hearing from me about mobility and identity. Back in February, I was on a panel for a Canadian Council of the Blind called the Fireside Chat. It was a discussion that happened between me and three other individuals, where we talked about mobility and identity and how it is part of our life and where it comes into play when using a white cane and things like that. So you will only be hearing my perspective and my views on mobility and identity. Samantha Moore, who works for the Canadian Council of the Blind, will be asking the questions, and then you'll be hearing my answers. So stay tuned. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and leave your comments below. Love to hear from you guys. Want to know what you have to say, and be sure to check out my previous video if you haven't already.
Let's start with the first time each of you used a cane, and specify which one, if it was an ID cane, a mobility cane, whatever it was, and why. So why that point in your life? Why that age?
The first time I was given a mobility cane was at the age of 4, since I was born with my eye condition. And the first step was to just get me used to using Braille, learning Braille, and used to holding a white mobility cane in my hand. So that is my very first vivid memory of using this white cane and walking down the hallway, and in the other hand holding a Perkins Braille. From that point on, I've always had a mobility cane given to me by my orientation and mobility specialist, and using it when I kind of needed to. I didn't really use it outside of, I guess, school purposes, or unless I was not doing anything relevant when it came to school or O&M. And then I was given a ID cane as well, I want to say in probably my middle school or maybe even high school, because I was going through a phase of just kind of accepting my my disability, wanting to fit in and not really walking around with this white cane, or like stick, as everyone calls it. No one really refers to it as a white cane or a mobility cane. So I'm like, yes, I'll take the ID cane. It's a lot smaller, it's foldable, it's not as visible, it's not that long. I can, kind of sneak it out and then sneak it back in when I need to. Realized very quickly that the ID cane is not going to serve me the purpose that I need, and if I want my independence. I don't have much night vision, and so for me to travel at nighttime with an ID cane was just not ideal. I tried it. I was more anxious. I felt more insecure. I felt more upset and more anger and resentment towards myself and the whole situation itself. So I went back to carrying the mobility cane. I would say the first time I actually used the mobility cane willingly on my own was probably around when I was 18 or 19, and that's when I was going to college. I was traveling by myself independently, realizing, okay, especially now in wintertime, days are getting shorter, it's getting dark outside. In order for me to feel safe, confident, and be independent, I need to use my cane. And so that's when I took that first step in using it. There was a lot of mixed emotions that did go through my head that day, and on the days to come. But I think being able to share that accomplishment and that step with my support system, with people that were involved in my cane journey, was very important, because it's something that you can go and be like, I use my cane today for the first time traveling by myself in the dark, but I didn't like it, and just sharing your emotions on that and acknowledging it is, I found, was really important and helpful, especially even with my friends, because I have friends that were using their cane before I even did, and kind of even watching them go through their journey kind of helped me come to grips with even just using my cane and kind of encouraging. So I think when you see people around you using it, it kind of helps you get to that acceptance phase and being okay to be part of your self identity. I do carry my cane with me at all times wherever I go. It's not always visible, like we said, it could be a very invisible disability, but I know myself well enough when I need to use my cane and when I feel that I don't need to use my cane. So it's always with me, especially at nighttime. I will definitely pop it out and use it, and I'm like, I don't care. But other than that, if I'm put into different situations or unfamiliar environments, that's also when I will take it out and use it. And I think it's also having that conversation with yourself is very important in part of your self growth and identity, is acknowledging, okay, if you do have some sight, when you need to take out your cane and using it versus when you feel confident enough.
How do you feel the different parts of your identity or who you are, that can be culture, religion, it can be like work you do in the community, sports, different activities that you engage in, any part of who you guys are, um, how does that play into how others treat you when you do or do not use a cane?
This is a really interesting question. So I'll say I've had the opportunity to kind of be on both sides of the coin. Like I said, because I do carry my white cane with me and I use it when I need to, and when I don't. So I will give an example of when I'm traveling independently, whether it's on public transit or taking trains or flying or anything like that. When I don't have my cane, I am treated, I would say, equally or fairly, just as anybody else that's on that bus, especially during rush hour and you're on your way home. So, it's really hard to find a seat. So you're standing in the bus with everyone else around you. But whenever I have taken my white cane out, or if I've been traveling at nighttime, so I have my white cane, it's an instant change. People are offering me seats or telling me, it'll be safer for me to sit down, even if I, say, no, I'm good standing up. People's interaction or socialization will change when that white cane is front and center. So and it's very, I think it's for me, since I kind of have the opportunity of being on both sides, and me having the white cane makes me very uncomfortable because as we know, people are always trying to help the best that they know how, but it doesn't always come across as helping. It comes across more as making us feel more unsafe or just not what we need at that time in terms of assistance. Also, when it comes to just walking with a white cane or going into social events or even networking events, it comes off across, people will recognize, or my experience is that being recognized, the white cane first, then you as a person. So your disability is being acknowledged before you as a person. And I feel like for me, I would say my disability is a very small portion of my self-identity. It's took me a long time to come to this point, but I feel like my disability is a portion of my self-identity. It's not a whole portion, but it's a very small portion. And it when I don't have the white cane and I'm in a networking or socialization setting, it's a bit different because people are interacting, you're having conversations, people are acknowledging you, you're being addressed at, and people, I would just say demeanors and things like that is just a lot different, even when it comes to body language and things like that, because they're acknowledging and speaking to you as a person, with a identity, and sharing similar experiences, and you can just have a normalcy conversation, versus there's been times when you have the white cane, or if when you um are uh or with a white cane, it's more about focused on your disability. Not to say that I don't, even if I don't have my white cane, if it comes up in conversations, I will acknowledge that yes, I do have a disability, I am partially sighted. I think it's really important. I don't think, especially for myself, it's not something to really hide. I think I'm past that, um past that stage, and I think that's comes with, your self identity. And I think it's also just coming from the background as well, from a Muslim background, when you are walking with a white cane, um there's just not much awareness or education around that. So that is where I feel like, someone like me needs to kind of do that education and promotion um piece. So I think I'll leave it there for now, because I could definitely say more.
What are some stigmas around blindness or low vision that make it difficult to use a cane?
I just want to say, like, for like anyone that's young, listening, or that is in school, like, I will say I can totally understand when you don't want to be that one person walking with the white cane, because you're being stigmatized in so many different ways. I will speak from experience, because I was severely bullied, and every time I was even using the white cane, it's like she's walking with that stick. So, and then, that really irks me when people identify the white cane or the mobility cane as a stick, the walking stick. And I'm like, it's not a walking stick. This is a tool that helps me get around um safer. And I think, um as a young person, growing up in an integrated school, it was very hard to just, when it came to my self identity, coming to terms with my disability and just wanting to fit in and not walk around it, because as soon as you use it, people don't want to come near you, people don't want to talk to you. Like, you're just, there's silent stigma, and then there's like the verbal stigma as well. I look at it in society, and what you internalize as well. But I think, even if you're not able to have that courage to use your cane, and not care what whoever thinks, I think just being able to just talk about vision loss and the white cane, and if you can break some of the stigmas that way, I think it's also um very important. And I've come to a point now, it's like, if I need to use my white point, I'm gonna use it, whether people will be like, oh, you're with us, you don't need to use your white cane. And I think a lot of times we feel that a bit of insecurity or stigma. It's like, I need to use it, but I don't know if, I don't want to use sighted guide, but I'm with a bunch of people, so I'm going to be the only person using a white cane. But again, it's about, I think, having self-confidence. And once I think you have accepted your disability and you use that cane, that white cane or that mobility cane is your key to independence. So if you want to do all the things that you have in mind for your dreams, then you just need to, nothing is going to stop you at that point. And you just have to embrace it when stigmas do come, and take that opportunity to educate and bring awareness to all those stigmas.
In the face of ignorant comments, do you feel it is the responsibility of the individual with blindness or low vision to educate the public, or to educate that person?
I think it's really important to educate and bring awareness, as much as, sometimes um, we don't want to explain or justify ourselves to people. And we just have to take that deep breath, or especially I take it as a learning opportunity, because a lot of times, yes, like you said, there's internet out there, there's social media out there, there's so much like education and things going on, but people don't, and they have access, but they don't want to reach
Mhm.
out and learn and educate themselves. And like, it's just ignorance is a bliss. So for
Mhm.
them, not knowing is just a lot easier because they can just avoid it altogether, right? In one of my talks I did, just explaining the difference between blind and partially sighted, and listening to the participants, what their perception and what their understanding of what blind and partially sighted meant, was just such an eye opener to me. And so from that point on, I took it an opportunity that when I am explaining or educating about vision loss, or when it even comes to my vision loss or explaining about the cane, I think of it, I'm representing the blind community. So there are been times where, like, you're on the street and people want to help you, or trying to make you cross the street or things like that. And sometimes we get upset or frustrated, or we lash out or we bark, but kind of really holding ourselves back and taking that a minute to 30 seconds to educating that individual or peoples, and letting and educating them, not only for yourself but for the rest of the blind community.
Right.
Because
That's right.
when they come across another blind person, and if you have barked or lashed out at them, they're not going to want to go and help that other
That's
blind
right.
person. So you have to be setting
Right.
that representation for the rest of the low vision and blind community. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like my videos.